All right, folks, welcome back. Part five. We're doing the Merida drawing from the movie Brave. It is a secret little Santa gift for my granddaughter. Uh, we won't be mentioning her name here since she is a child. And this is the original pencil work of my good friend in New York, comic book artist uh, extraordinaire. And I don't say that lightly. Carlos Franco. Oops. I almost made a little pit stop there with the hair that would have been bad. Yeah. I like to keep when I ink, the curvature of especially when I'm inking hair. I'll make sure everything's in place over here. Let's see, can you all see that? All right, it's gonna happen. Let's do a close up. There we go. I think that might be more in order. All right, right at the end there. We'll do a quick close up here. The last video was like 19 or 20 minutes. Whew, my apologies to anyone who watched that. uh, I kind of lost track of the time when I'm doing this stuff. Like I said in the previous video, it's very meditative for me. And I could sit there and just ink and draw and design for hours at a time, which I don't really have now because I have a day job that I have to get to, like so many of us. Hopefully, that won't be the case in in the near future. Also, as this channel grows, um, I will try to better the camera system and sound system as I go. I'm working on that, but one step at a time. First, it's work a full-time job, then pay the bills and eat, the basics. And then after that, okay, let's switch this. I think, no, we'll keep it there. I think I can pull these lines towards me. Usually pull them away from me, but let me see if I can do this. I don't want to damage, let me rephrase that. I don't want to alter the pattern that was set for me by the original penciler. Again, mentioning his name, Carlos Franco, out in New York. Please look him up on Facebook. Please be so kind as to hire him and commission him. He is a fantastic artist. This is though I consider this one of his better, well, that's not true. One of his many great pieces. He's done so much other great stuff that will just boggle your eyes. And I'm not ad-libbing this. I'm not exaggerating his skills because he's a friend. I'm telling you, if you want a great rendering of a comic book drawing of any form, whether just if you want good storytelling, you like action, adventure, even if it's two characters talking, you're gonna want him to draw it. If anybody's out there wondering why I'm stipulating that for him instead of myself, that's because at the end of the day, I lose nothing by talking about a great artist and a solid friend. And it detracts nothing, it takes nothing away from me and what I can do. So let me see if this camera view is right. Okay, we're gonna have to step back a little bit. There we go. All right, we're almost there. I think we're in 4 minutes. We're on schedule. Again, hopefully my hairline is not in there. Love how he blended the hair here. That's something I would do. I do in my drawings. I like to bend the outer part and the inner part of the hairline. Let me rephrase that. Of the follicles of hair. There we go. Well, the follicles will be the bottom part, but you all I'm sure know what I meant. The strands of hair. And then of course there is this slight turn here, which I can pull. These are these sketchy lines that add a little character to that area. Look at that. You did a great job. Hopefully I can pay my respects and do a solid job inking it. I just hope at the end of it all, my granddaughter is going to love this. Hope she likes it. Hopefully she'll love it, but we'll see. Kids are very fickle these days. Well, then again, weren't they always, even in our time? Uh, and she's about soon to be 9 years old. I think that's about as much as I can say about that, as I'm certain her mother would not want me to kind of just keep it there, which makes sense. And I'm always fond of believing that the adult world is the adult world, and the children's world is the children's world, and neither should the twain meet until they grow up. Leave kids in their place, I always say. And don't mess around with them. That's one quick way to get me out of character real quick. Anybody that, oh, let me see. Oh, let's pull that out. All right. Now I love these. I know this is time consuming and detail oriented, not only to watch, but for some people to ink. It takes not only skill, which I assume that's hopefully what I will be displaying here, but it takes patience. And now going back a while, I don't know, 2 videos ago now, I mentioned someone had actually done us inked over Mr. Franco's pencils. And he had shown it to me like a year ago or maybe more. And I thought that part of why it looked so bad is because it's obvious that the person rushed. You can't rush beauty. You can't rush the Mona Lisa. You can't rush, great sculpting. Uh, to do that with art is a fool's, excuse me, it's a fool's errand. That's how I would call. That's how I would put that. I'll leave that at that. But yeah, and I love this Eon board. This Eon board is so smooth to use these pens on. My quills, which I, I didn't want to break those out because I have to dip them in ink, and that would have been a mess here at this table at the coffee house. We'll save that for the studio. All right, let's see. Okay, hold on, folks. I think I'm losing. There we go. All right, I think that does it. Right there. Get a good view there. I'm gonna have to stretch out my sight beyond sight. All right, what cartoon was that, folks? What cartoon did I just quote? Who had sight beyond sight? Was it Thundar the Barbarian, Ukla the Mock, Princess Ariel, or was it the other cartoon? Another equally famous 1980s cartoon. Thunder, Thunder, Thundercats, ho, and all that good stuff. Just having a little fun here. Because that's another thing. If you're doing this and you like art, you're just starting out, or you've been doing it for 50 years, whatever it is that, whatever time it is for you, please do this because you love it. You're falling in love with it. Um, Obviously, you probably would have a predilection for it. Uh, some skill that's developing or has already developed. A gift for it if it just came naturally. Um, If you have any questions about any of that, as far as I'm concerned, feel free to leave it in the comments. That should be, more than 7 words, and YouTube and the algorithm will be happy. And I'll be glad to come back and answer as many questions as I can. Um, all right, so I'm happy with the hair. And I want to make sure that I do. Actually, I keep saying hair, I meant fur. But y'all know that. Let me go back to the close up here where it's closer to me. Why? Because I don't want to mess up the rhythm I've built up. I actually like to twist my hand sometimes. It doesn't necessarily hurt. I guess if I had to keep it in that position for long periods of time, then maybe it would. But over the years, I've learned to figure out what position to put my wrist in for an extended period of time and what position not to do that in. So, okay, now I have to put this sideways, I think. No, that's going to take you off camera. Okay, we're going to do it this way. All right, there we go. Let's see. Are we in camera? We're in camera view. All right, let me see if we get a close up. Right there. We'll be working on this area right here. Okay. Always respect the penciler you're inking if you're an inker. Do right by her or him. Uh, this might seem like small, tiny details that shouldn't matter, but they do. Even when you're inking fur or human hair, be true to what the original penciler was intending to be the final product, the final look. Don't just go, half crazy and do whatever the heck you want. That's not what you were hired for, or even trusted to do, even if you weren't hired. Obviously, I wasn't hired for this. I'm the one who actually commissioned this, but I feel like when I do things like this, even if I paid for the commission from a friend, artist, I'm giving myself a job, an assignment, and I want to be able to perform. Uh, that's a little, that's a little embellishment there, a little ad libbing that I did, but I think that it blends well with the fur that what originally Mr. Franco had put down. My goal at the end of the day is to make sure that it looks like fur, as it was his intent when he penciled it. All right, let's check the time. Okay, we're at 13 minutes. We'll give it about 15, all right? And then we're going to have to close this out. I might bring one last board because I have a lot of pieces that need to be worked on. I figure I'd, bring you folks along for the ride. Hold on, I think that my close-up is done here. Let's back out and do it the old-fashioned way where you can see everything. All right, almost done with the fur. Oof. All right, there we go. Okay, so you can see it goes from thin to thick, or you could do it the other way around. I love these little lines here. Normally if you're doing like a cityscape or something, it would be mind-numbing. And actually, Mr. Carlos Franco is fantastic at doing cityscapes, New York, Chicago, whatever skyline you like, and it is just filled with detail. Like I said, it can seem at first. Wait until I ink. I'll bring another one of his boards on here onto the channel, and under the Klieg lights, as it were. You're not gonna believe your eyes. I mean, I've liked to draw in detail. Okay, that's just a given, and you'll see my artwork as well. I plan to do a drawing of a Silver Surfer for those who like the Marvel characters. I mean, it's technically, the layout is already done. The final pass on the pencils is done. So I had to transfer that to a Bristol board using a light. I used to say light board, but it's really a light panel now. And That one is going to be pretty, even though it'll be a space scene, it'll be pretty detailed. I'm going to try to capture, let me see, are we still in camera view? All right, sorry for the shake. That one's going to try, I'm trying to capture, you know, I want to tell you all, I don't necessarily, I could mimic a style. I mean, just for fun, whether it be Mobier, Jack Kirby, Jim Starlin, the list goes on, John Byrne. But I don't necessarily draw like them, and I don't necessarily want to. I think that I'm at the point in my life, my unfamous career, where I've learned to develop my own thing. I don't know if I call it my own style because I think my style is versatile. I think that it blends with all the accoutrements, if you will, that I've taken away from the different artists that have informed me over the years. Uh, Especially, I guess, gosh, going back to, like I said, we had a guest here at the channel a couple of episodes ago, which was Steve Lealoa, uh, who's done work for beautiful work for Marvel over the years, but especially Spider Woman in the early 80s, which is one of the titles I read as a kid. I loved it. It was just fantastic. Okay, I want to make sure I fold. If I talk to you all and don't pay attention, I'm going to make mistakes here that I don't need to make. Which to me, even though I know we all know that famous quote from Bob Ross, I won't quite find it to be a happy accident or, and all that. I'll just be irritated with myself for the rest of the day because I messed up. And some mistakes can be altered, covered up, mostly altered, I'd like to say. Covered up seems a little nefarious, but inevitably that's what you're doing with the inks, the inking portion of a drawing. Um, but yeah, so Steve Lealoa came through, which was fantastic. Hopefully he'll see this at some point. Big shout out to him. And hopefully over the coming year in 2025, I'm hoping I'll expand the channels, do a couple of interviews of some great artists, inkers, pencilers, maybe include a writer or two as well, a letterer, colorist. If they'd like to come on, this is my invitation. Uh, all they have to do is hit me up. There'll be a business email there for them. I have to set one up for the general public, viewers, and subscribers as the channel grows, which right now it's at its nascent stage. We're just starting off the gate. And that's okay. We got to start somewhere, folks. We all do. I know I did when I started doing artwork and writing my own stuff as well. That's another thing. I like to keep my hands in a different number of pots in the kitchen, not just drawing. Um, I like to do. I've written like I think. Oops. There we go. Sometimes I follow the lines exactly, and sometimes not. All right, so that side is all done. All right, we're at 19 minutes. We better wrap this up. Folks, if you have been here this long, I thank you for your time. That's profusely thank you for your patience, your time, and hopefully you found some joy out of this tutorial and my explanation of how things work in the depths uh, of my head when it comes to creative arts and so forth. If you care to, please leave a message, comment for one and all. If you can say hello, you can say goodbye. If you care to leave a comment, like I said, as far as I've been told, seven words or more. And please, by all means, share this with someone that you know that might enjoy this. Uh, please give it a thumbs up, and by all means, click that notification bell and subscribe. And I will see you all on the next one.